100,000 followers.
Like, look at all these damn videos. Like,
it's like,
when you said content creator, I go, damn, that honestly, if you look at if I look at your account, yeah, that's what you are first.
Yep.
But I just have another experience with you, so I went a totally different route.
You know what? And I love that. I love that, and that is a great route to go, because typically Emo Night CT is not something that I talk about. It's not something that even comes up usually.
I think that
most people don't know that about me.
That world and that realm that you started, I think, is one of the coolest things ever.
Yep.
Because you brought something that you made a space for people in a place where they didn't have that opportunity.
Yep.
At locations that they would never, that these type of people wouldn't go hang out with, because you'd never hear this music at these bars and at these locations.
I think also, honestly, I think one of the big things that sold emo. So let's fill in everyone on Emo Night CT before. I mean, you know what emo nights are. I feel like a lot of people know what emo nights are at this point.
I mean, they've got them at.
But yeah, you can
Lollapalooza now. They have them at
Yeah.
Lollapalooza now, where basically you have a DJ and you have everybody singing together, but it's a crowd presence. Everybody coming together. The songs are sad. There are some happy songs, so it's just definitely an environment that everyone wanted to create.
I still call it a celebration of early 2000s like pop punk and emo
top
music.
40.
But also, I think one of the big things about the Connecticut scene is that Connecticut, as a state, is always overlooked by most major acts, by most major tours, by most major
we're right next to New York City.
We are the highway.
Like, y'all can go to Boston, y'all can go to New York, but like, why we have to go to Connecticut?
Brooklyn, bro? Hit up Brooklyn. So Connecticut is looked at by a lot of people as a sub-region between New York and Connecticut, or between New York and Massachusetts, Boston. And I think that it just gets overlooked on a lot of tours because there's not a lot of venues here. Recently, we had the Hartford Healthcare open, and we're getting some names coming through, And then I think that Fillmore just recently got a contract to get, the famous Fillmore in Pennsylvania. Yeah. I think it's Philly, right? Philadelphia.
I was like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
Philharmonic.
Oh, that.
But I mean, but before, the only place to go in Connecticut was Hartford to go see Dave Matthews Band.
Yep.
Three nights a weekend in June in the summer. So that just made it a little bit easier for people to be, oh, this is a destination now. We're gonna bring more breweries here. We're gonna do that, but. It was nice because a lot of restaurants did take a chance, and bars did take a chance on Emo Night, which is kind of awesome because selling the idea to people like, hey, we're gonna pack this bar with a bunch of people who are gonna have fun, drink, and you know what? Not
sing,
fight,
drink, scream,
and not fight, which is nice. Maybe a mosh pit here and there, but yeah, I mean, I'm sure Brian will get into more about how we all got it going.
So, yeah, I would love to hear how you guys started, but all I can say is why I was actually excited is I went to the first Emo Night CT that you guys hosted.
Yeah, a lot of Apple people did.
I was honestly, I was like, oh, it's not my vibe. I'm not going to want to do this. Yep. And my roommate at the time, shout out to Grady, he was like, we are going. Our friends are putting this together. We're going to support. All right.
Big ups to Grady.
All I remember is being at Orange Ale House.
Yeah.
Jumping on all the couches.
Bro, they were not expecting it.
Jumping on the couches, screaming with Aaliyah and Ronnie's. Then going back to where we live, where I currently live. Didn't live there at the time, and then blacking out. All I remember is I was on the back entryway, puking over the side for a good 30 minutes.
Damn, dude, you had a good night. Huh?
Puking his most fun of his life.
Yeah, I remember when I moved into the house and I go, I puked in that corner. It was like, this is a full circle moment.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So basically what Emo Night kind of started out with and as it was a group of people who loved the early 2000s kind of vibe.
What is that? What's the vibe?
So I would say that the vibe of the early 2000s was really kind of a skater kind of, if I really had to explain it and go deep on it, it was kind of a skater. It was kind of the post-grunge era where the younger generation was coming up, brought up by grunge and brought up by punk.
It was softer grunge where you could get involved in it, but you didn't have to be full
you didn't have to be a full, you didn't have to be a full punk, right? So I toured right out of high school. I toured with a band. Okay. Really? I was probably 19, 20, 21, 22 around there. And I toured with a band, and we did shows all over the East Coast. I've played Warped Tour. I've been on Warped Tour twice. And, like, those kind of things were so important to my upbringing and so important to the person that I feel like I am. I never went to college. I just did that. I just played music. So when
you did what you loved instead.
I did what I loved. And I think that I was never a great kid in school because I kind of always just knew, like, I know what I want to do. I want to entertain people. I want to make people
happy. And nothing y'all are going to teach me is going to get me to where I want to be. It doesn't matter.
I don't give a shit about geometry. I'm sorry. I don't care. I know from the time that I was conscious, I was like, I like when people look at me and feel good. That
you
idea,
like to entertain.
That idea of when people look at me and I make them feel good, that is the only feeling I need in life.
I think the only box, if you have to put yourself in, then is an entertainer.
Yes. It's almost like I entertain. Yeah.
That it doesn't matter how I entertain, but as long as I can entertain,
I will
like
do it.
Like the world's jester, kind of like, as long as I'm not mentally broken, I'll make sure everybody else is okay.
Dude, I will drag myself over hot coals. I'll drag myself over nails. Like I'm so much less concerned about how I feel in life and way more concerned about how other people feel, and just
especially when they're around you.
Especially when they're around me, right? And this is a big like, you know, we could go into this and how like my upbringing brought me here, you know, but like
we don't have a therapist.
It's
tonight.
not and I'm not that concerned about it because I love my life and I have loved bringing joy to other people, and that's really, to me, if I do that, if I walk into a room and I'm able to entertain and I make one person smile, dude, I've fulfilled the reason why I'm here, you know, like, and that's how I've always felt. So with Emo Night, coming full circle with that, this is just because I have always loved being on stage. I've always loved performing. I loved playing in a band, and I had a connection with other creative people. My buddy Matt, who was also in bands and who grew up in the same Connecticut scene with me, we knew there was a scene in Connecticut for music, and specifically pop punk music. I mean, I played VFW halls, I played temples, I played the basements of churches, I played teen centers, like all that kind of stuff. We knew that these people were still in Connecticut, and when we started coming up with Emo Night, people thought it was nuts because it was all club nights and you know, the same.
But
the
scene
songs
in Connecticut isn't it.
Yeah.
I had more fun at Emo Night a couple weeks ago than I've had in Connecticut in a long time.
And there's, so I think that also a lot of states have also realized that, is that this scene of people don't go out to the typical, like, yo, it's Friday bro night at
Emo Night LA, and they're bringing on the Vanderpump cast,
Coachella
and
now,
they're like on
yeah.
this, and they're on this, like, they're going hard because people just want a space. Everyone wants to feel included.
Everyone wants to feel included. Everyone wants to feel like, oh, I can be me here. And when we did that, and people look at us and they're like, whoa, this is a group of really goofy guys. This is not.
Yeah.
These are not models. These are not people who are
They're
celebrities.
Just guys that love music and love to entertain.
These are guys who, from the moment they stepped on stage, were 100% themselves. They didn't ever. We from the moment we got on that stage, we said Emo Night is about being yourself. That is it. Anything else you get out of it, that's great. But it's about coming here and feeling okay, screaming at the top of your lungs, and being the weirdest fucking version of yourself that you can be, and not feeling judged.
It was just cool because people would come there and be packed, and this bar is not very big for many people who haven't been there. So it was really cool. To see the love and support there. And it was cool because we had me as like a hype
I don't know
guy.
if we don't go there much.
We don't go there more, but I mean,
it's a different place.
It's a different
now.
vibe now.
It's a different place now. It's way more the flags they're hanging are.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it was just. But even after the first,
they don't match up.
First, second, third show.
And by that I mean blue line flags. I just want to be very clear. The fucking.
We'll tell you what the flags are.
Bootlicker flag. Yeah.
There you go.
Fuck that.
But even the outpour after we first started, people were coming out after the first night and they were saying, "Oh my gosh, like that was the most fun I've had in months. I don't even go to bars. I'm coming out. Where are you guys?
I
next
said
month?
it.
Where are you this month?
Like,
because
let's be honest. I am black. I didn't listen to emo music.
You are?
You're black.
What?
They can only hear your voice, bro.
You've never turned your camera on during this recording.
If y'all did not know, I am a black male My daddy's is black. I don't know how else to say it. Black.
So is your mom.
I go, my dad's not, honestly, if you want to know, black and Irish. Because one of his great-great-grandmother was a slave or something.
That's okay.
And her slave master was Irish.
Nicholas O'Shaughnessy.
And then my mom is Jamaican and Panamanian. So I'm black.
Nicholas O. Simmons, yeah.
But I was like, I really didn't listen to the Blink 182s.
Yeah. And that's fair.
Fall Out
That's
Boy, or whatever it was. So I remember going to it, and I'm one of those people, I will go to any concert. I will go to any environment if I know it's going to be a great time, the environment's going to be right. And it was one of those environments and one of those spaces where everyone was having a good time. I may not know all the words. I may not know any of the words. I may not know that, but I know I can get a drink, stand in a circle with my friends, and just jam out and have a good time. And I'll dance to anything. It's like, okay, cool. Like, we can we'll headbang to this? Okay, cool. Just let me know what I have to do. But, like, I remember feeling included in that space when I was very much prepared to exclude myself because I didn't fit in.
Yeah.
And it was like, nah, join in.
I think that we see that a lot from people who show up for the first time. And you will see people who stand on the outside, who stand on the back walls, who will kind of post up and just view the scene going on. And the scene going on, for those who haven't been there, and I don't imagine that everyone listening to this has been there.
To a emo night.
Yeah,
in
to an emo night at all. But the scene is usually like 200, 300 people yelling at us, yelling back at them on a stage. Like, it really is.
And like, no one's playing new music, really.
It's not new music. It's the music that we grew up with, that we have fun and we like to dance.
It's a millennials party.
Any of the outsiders standing outside of the rails, or anybody on the back end of the shows that maybe even showed up, didn't know Emo Night was happening that night, end up becoming part of the crowd anyway, because I'd pay a lot of people who would come to Emo Night to find a song that they didn't at least know, at least one or two of. And everybody's like, I don't know emo. And then, for example,
there was one song that I saved after Emo Night, and I was just like, oh my god.
Nick's parents.
I've had people be like, I'm not goth, I'm not emo, but it looks like a lot of fun. And I'm like, trust me, you're gonna have a lot of fun.
You're gonna know a bunch. You're gonna know a bunch of the songs.
And the other thing is that, like, I am so open to people coming and talking to me. I feel like the biggest issue with creating a brand that feels big is it's intimidating to people, right? So, like, you have this brand that people look at and they're like, oh my god, these guys are so big.
These guys are
so
headlining
huge.
Two Roads, the biggest brewery in the area.
Yeah, and then you get people who are scared to just approach you, and it's like, dude, I'm a dork, dude. My fiance was just down here playing Baldur's Gate. I have this TV set up ready so that we can play together. Baldur's Gate. Like,
I think that's one of the reasons why I created this podcast, because looking at someone else's mastery or them trying to master something isn't a place for you to be scared or like feel like, oh cool, I can't learn from them anymore. It's a place for, oh, I want to dive in further.
Yeah,
I want to learn more.
I will gladly, and that's why I agree to just about every podcast, unless I look at their previous lineup and I'm like, this ain't it.
It's like, this does not align with
have you been on Shelf?
Alpha Jack, brother.
Have you been on Shelf Pleasure yet?
I have been on Shelf
Pleasure.
Have?
Okay.
I've been on Shelf Pleasure twice.
Yep.
And I've read the books on Shelf Pleasure.
If you are into the romantic novels, Shelf Pleasure is out there for you.
Shelf Pleasure on Spotify. It's on Apple. Yeah, that's a podcast I produce with my fiance and her friend Krista.
Yo, let's be honest. Brian is producing tonight's episode too. Like, I walked in and I was really prepared to have the like Tiffany Haddish meme. Like, ooh, this is nice. Doesn't smell like roaches or anything up in here. Like, this is ooh.
I know Howard Stern records in here, but no, I mean, in 2018 when Emo Night was kind of coming about, I think that's the great point from Brian was, we aren't intimidating. Like me, I'm not a gothy-ish background. I was more so brought on as a hype guy versus.
I don't like. He hates emo night music,
bro. But Ken loves.
But he will be on stage.
But I will make sure everybody's having the most fun. But I mean, Brian's bringing great people in, like Mike
Ken is an
and
EDM.
Matt.
He's like an EDM.
I'm an
boy.
EDM hip hop guy, but
Yeah.
I'm also like Brian, where I'm a crowd person.
Grizz.
Where I'm young.
Just saw the day he found out who I was related to.
Oh, we'll get into that later. Famous DJ, but no, I mean, emo night's just for everybody, and it's just so fun seeing the same people there every time. But we're going on like over 5 years now, and it's still packing out every single time, rain or shine, and it's great.